Hello and welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. We are here at the Mexico City Grand Prix, and as ever, I am joined by our resident technical expert, Albert Fabrega.
Hola, Laura.
Hola, how are you? ¿Qué tal?
Fine, muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Good. Doing okay. Yeah, we're getting there. Excuse my voice, this is the best we've got
Good
for
enough.
today. Yeah, but we're going to get through this.
Yes.
We're talking today about a very hot topic, and that is planks. Now, of course, you look back to the US Grand Prix last weekend. We look at what happened in Austin. Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc were both disqualified for falling foul of a technical infringement, and that is excessive wear of the plank beneath their cars. But what are these planks? How do they work? And how do scrutineers measure if there has been excessive wear? Of course, Albert is about to tell us all. Firstly, why do we need these planks, Albert?
Yeah, this is a measure that was taken by FIA in 1994 after the accidents of Senna and Ratzenberger in Imola to try to slow down the cars, to try to reduce the performance of the cars. And one way to do it was to raise the cars. We know that the Formula One cars, all-time Formula One cars, even the current one, even more maybe, they generate a lot of downforce under the car with the diffuser and the flow. So the way to stop that performance, or to reduce that performance, is to raise the car, literally, to raise the flow and to raise the diffuser, so the performance go down. And they say, okay, how are we going to do that? It's difficult to measure because we cannot measure the car on track. So maybe what happens if we fit like a plank under the car, a wood under the car? Should that work? Yes, because if you raise the car, you reduce the speed, you reduce the aerodynamic generated by the car and the balance of the car. So yeah, that was a good
and Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc are in very good company as well. Michael Schumacher was one of the first to fall foul of this rule in 1994 in his Benetton at the Belgian Grand Prix. He was also disqualified, exactly.
Yep.
But now in a modern F1 car, what do these planks look like as we see the cars driving around the track?
We have to go under the car to see where the planks are. We have to turn this fantastic model.
This model is insane, by the way. Up close it is a thing of beauty.
So the plank that was wood at the very beginning, it goes under the floor, all this area, from the rear to the bib, to the front of the car. It's a piece of wood that goes all along this area, and it's the area that is closer to the floor. So if you go down to the car, that is perfect for aerodynamics, you're touching with the floor on the car. So now we don't have the wheels on this fantastic model that Rodrigo borrowed to us, but obviously the higher you go, more downforce you lose. So it's perfect to go. And the thing that is touching the floor is the wood that was implemented in 1994.
It's the balance, isn't it? The compromise that our teams have to get just right around each circuit we go to with each of its individual challenges as well. And I guess we see those spectacular sparks flying from the cars. In a sense, the teams don't want to see too much of that, do they? Because that's going to be excessive wear.
Yeah. The thing is that you cannot glue this wood to the chassis. So they use balls and they use special skid blocks to fix it to the car, and that when this is touching to the floor is creating sparks that were since the beginning. Then in 2014 where they changed the material so it's more than a part of the car, it's more for the show, more than the performance. So it's nice to see sparks going out from the car. It's more a show. Yeah,
it definitely looks spectacular for us. But I guess for marshals that could be, and for scrutineers that could be an indication that that car is running very low and perhaps could be looked at. Talk to me then about how the scrutineers actually measure this excessive wear.
You want to see the plank?
Go on then.
Because I had 2 days off here and I built my own plank.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Why not? So, here we go then.
That's the plank under the car. I try to simulate also the wear that is causing when the car is touching the floor, because what the teams do is try to go as low as possible within the regulations. This plank is made of wood because I couldn't do better than this, but nowadays they are made of special resin with fiberglass. They are called permaglass. This is a commercial name. Everyone is using the same fabricator, and it's, as we have seen before, it goes all along down of the car from the front to the rear, and it has special characteristics. The thickness must be 10 millimeters, homogeneous 10 millimeters, and it must have 4 holes, one at the rear, 2 in the middle, and 1 at the front. That is the areas that are used for FIA to measure the thickness at the end of a race, of a qualifying, or any single moment during the weekend. they allow the teams to have a limited wear, 1 millimeter. So at the end of the race, any single measurement points of these 4 measurement points must be within at least bigger than 9 millimeters. If it is lower than 9 millimeters, the car is not legal.
It's the finest of margins, isn't it? Charles Leclerc saying that coming into this weekend, that it was just the tiniest margin that he was disqualified. But look, the rules are the rules, as you say. And Max Verstappen was very much riding a little bit higher, it seemed, because of concerns over plank legality.
Yeah, and in a special weekend like the spring weekend where they have only 60 minutes to test and to adjust the right height, it's difficult to get that points.
And a bumpy track too.
And a bumpy
course.
track as well. Yeah, that's a good point. Very difficult to set up the car on that conditions. And another good thing too, interesting to explain is that's fixing points. We were saying that they're fixing also some skid blocks. The regulations say that there is a maximum area they can fix on the car. They need to go deep on it, just do like pockets and insert pieces like this one. This is a metallic piece. This is an alloy, titanium alloy that is regulated by the FIA as well, and they can distribute that just to protect the hole. But that is tricky because they can build different configuration, as you can see on these models. When they measure this, it's not to come here. They dismantle the whole plank from the car and to measure every single point around the perimeter of the hole. That's a tricky thing. There is a technical directive that explains how the FIA is measuring this, and all the points has not the same rigidity when you put pressure. So the teams define an area in any single skid block where the FIA measures the thickness of the skid block or the plank. They normally measure here around the skid block that is fixed in the plank. So they define areas where it's 100%, it's a 90% rigidity, but there is certain areas, it's not the whole thing, where they can measure. And another point, interesting point, is that they allow different regulation from the front to the rear. On the front, as they have the bib and with the cabs is moving a lot, they allow the teams, when they check it, that only one point must be over 9 millimeters. If the others are lower than this because they are touching a lot on the curbs, they are okay, they are legal. But the rear, where Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc were declared no legal,
so it was just
this
in
point,
the rear, just the rear of the car.
You must have all the points they measure over 9 millimeters. If there is only one point under 9 millimeters, you are disqualified. And there is no gray areas on this.
No, rules are rules.
Yes.
As Charles says. Lewis also mentioning, of course, coming into this weekend, though, that actually of the few cars they did check, considering how many were over that threshold,
yes,
more cars potentially would have been as well.
That's
but
the point.
I guess the FIA couldn't possibly check them all.
It's not the point. It's not to put that in an elevator and measure the points with a ruler or something like that. They need to dismantle any single plank. So they take it off from the car, even if it's 2 or 3 pieces, maximum 3 pieces by regulations, and they measure all these points out of the car. So it's a long process. It's not easy to do that. So FIA choose random 4 cars, probably checking that the sensor that is measuring the vertical energy that is going on the car for the bouncing and for the purposing. So they choose 4 cars, and yeah, that's the question. Should they check more cars? Maybe other cars very legally, but you know, this is scrutiny. It has been working like this for a long time, and I think in some certain measures will be like this in the future. Will not change.
Well, we'll see then. I think teams will be very much more aware, though, of plank legality now, as will all of us. Thank you very much indeed, Albert.
You're welcome.
We will see you for another episode of Tech Talk in Brazil.